Find out your worth and then believe in it. If you've gotten paid more than you think you're worth before and you actually delivered and then that person's happy, don't go back from that, because you can do that at that same level again and again and again. It's really good to know your worth and then not be pressed down beyond what you think you're capable of.
When we're on discovery calls with clients, like if we just hear them say, I need a video and it needs to be 2 minutes long, and you're like, okay, well, yeah, it's going to cost you like $7,000. It's like, oh my gosh, wait, whoa, easy. Like, what's the problem? Why are they doing a video? Why do they need it right now? Have they done it in the past? What went well? What didn't? If they say, we've spent $20,000 in the past on the same video, but the process was terrible. We didn't have any idea what the style was going to be until we saw it for the first time. We're like, this is not the direction. You would have never had an idea that they had $20,000. At least you have permission to say like, wow, if I was able to solve this problem for you in half the time with like no stress, it would be worth $20,000. And they say yes, then it's like, you better write your freaking invoice for $20,000 because you're solving a big problem that they have.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with doing that.
If you're the person who's making a video for somebody, you're diagnosing their problem and you're figuring out what they actually need. And from that point, you're an expert. But basically, you're there to help people and not sell people on what they don't actually need.
On this episode of the podcast, I'm hanging out with Sam Hanson, who's a motion designer and founder of Unlitted Co., and a guy whose business is literally doubling every month. Yeah, you heard that right. We talk about what it takes to quit your comfy job right after buying a house, no pressure. We talk about how to figure out what your creative work is actually worth and why being cheerful and helpful can be your best strategy. If you've ever wondered when is the right time to make the leap or felt stuck trying to price your work confidently, this episode is for you. Let's jump in. What's up, friend? Hey, it's Ryan from the Grow Your Video Business Show. I am so pumped that you're here. I'm grateful that we got Sam, who's a member of our mastermind, on this episode, sharing his story, sharing his heart. He's such a good dude. Everybody in our mastermind just adores him. He is a great human and does really good work, and it's just been fun to watch his business grow. If you are brand new here, welcome. If you're like, what the heck is a mastermind? I would love to tell you. Currently, we are accepting applications to the mastermind, and you can find out all the details over at studiosherpas.com/mastermind. If you feel like you're alone in this business, if you feel like you wish you would benefit from insights, from experience from others, from people who have been in the business for 20 years and going, plus other people who have different kinds of video businesses, this might be the group for you. This might be the time for you. If you feel like, yeah, I want to know more information, go check out the information. You can also apply from this page. And when you apply, it's a good opportunity for you to really understand what we are looking for. What is the ideal kind of mastermind member? But my suggestion to you, if you feel like, yeah, maybe I think now might be the time, I don't know for sure, at least check out the page. And I'd encourage you to apply. And you can do all of that at studiosherpas.com/mastermind. Okay. Otherwise, I'm so excited that you're here. I do this work. It doesn't feel like work. I do this podcast to help, to equip other filmmakers, to give them tools that they need to build more sustainable businesses, ones where there's some predictability, ones where there's more profit, there's more freedom, there's more fun. So that's what I love doing. I've been thankful to be able to run my video production business and have this education arm to be able to hang out with amazing filmmakers like yourself. So let's get into this episode, and here we go. What's up, friend? Hey, welcome to another episode of the show. Today with me is my friend Sam Hanson, who is the owner of Unlitted Co. He is an incredibly gifted motion designer and also a member of the Studio Sherpas Masterminds, and just a good dude. I think I might get voted off the island and Sam might take over the mastermind, I think is the way we're trending in the group. So anyway, welcome to the show, Sam.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
It's good to have you. And I'm grateful. Your story, I was sharing with my wife. You sent me like the best Voxer yesterday or the day before when I had texted the group and just asked that question. So thank you. I did heart, and I think I did text back. I did not Voxer back, but just grateful for your very, very kind and generous words. But I was trying to explain to my wife, like, about you. And I basically said that I'm like, I think Sam, if you asked everybody in our mastermind if they had a favorite person, it wouldn't be me. I definitely think it would be Sam. So you're right up there, man.
Well, your words honor me. That's great.
So tell us about this. And I'm not blowing smoke here. I know your motion design work. It's beautiful. It's engaging. It's really, really top notch.
Thank you.
And at our retreat earlier this year, as you're new as a business owner, I mean, you've been doing this kind of work for a long time. There was, big questions over like, what direction do you take this business? And I think, you tell us, like, what was your big takeaway as you walked away from our retreat earlier this year? No, was that this year? Yeah, that was this year. Yeah.
It feels like a long time ago, but it was this year. My big takeaway was how many people can be encouraging. I don't know. I think the format of it ended up being such that it was a bit like summer camp in that everyone's kind of like ready to learn, ready to jump in and be friends. And there wasn't a lot of like pretense to that. And so people were very open and just generous. It was really quick to get to know everybody. And with like the takeaway from it, like people are way more encouraging than you are to yourself. And so like that was a huge, huge boost for me as I was like, I signed up for the mastermind because I just knew that I needed some business coaching. I needed some help. I needed like direction. I like knew what I can do, but also I don't know what the best way it is to do it. And learning from different people that are doing it ahead of me is the main thing that I was like, of course I need to do this. And so that's my takeaway. Is that any one thing? My takeaway is people really encouraging.
Yes, that's good. I want to know, you came in with some big questions around your business, and then you left, I think, with some clearer direction. Like, what was paint the picture of how were things coming in? And then as you walked away from that event, what did you know that you needed to start doing or stop doing, or what was different?
Yeah. I think when I came into it, I really only had like one or maybe two clients, and it was mostly like, I just knew I'd like to help people. I used to kind of do a little bit of everything with the last job I was in, and I just started like doing that. Like, hey, can I make a video for you? Different things like that. And I was trying to find like my ideal client. I had some like pretty successful clients a couple of years before that, and I wanted to find more of them, but didn't really have like all of the, I guess, the direction. And one of the things, I think it was you that mentioned during one of the hot seats, was that it sounds like everyone here might be potential clients of yours. And I was like, well, that's a good point, but I didn't necessarily come here to solicit business so much as just learn and connect with people. And so it's changed a bit of the direction of where I'm headed with it, because I am just trying to help people, and I'm not trying to be a studio all by myself. And working with people and finding collaborative projects is like the ideal scenario for me, because half the work's done, or I can just lean on doing half the stuff, or doing the stuff that I actually like doing and can do quickly.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, quickly for you, and like
quickly for me.
ages for somebody like me. Yeah, I love the idea, the mindset of going to an event like that, thinking like, well, like, yeah, I want to be helpful and show up, and then you get something that you don't expect, and that I think was an epiphany that we had during our time together of like, dude, like every video business owner here, none of us are specializing in motion graphics. Maybe a couple of us can do it, but for the way that most of us have built our businesses, it doesn't make any sense for us to be doing motion design. So for you to, at least part of the service that you offer, if you could support video companies by being their go-to motion design agency or something like that, I think that's a no-brainer. So I just love that, you're like, well, I didn't intend to come here looking for work, but it reminds me of at our studio, we started renting out desk space, and there's a guy, he's a shooter and an editor, and he rents out desk space, and he pays $400 a month. He's got 3 little kids at home. He needed to get out of the house. So for him to come to the studio, even if he's only there once or twice a week, like those are times that he really needs quiet. But what has happened without the intention, I don't think this was his intention, but this happened. Like, he started showing up and we started seeing him more. So he was top of mind. So when we were short a person, or when we needed an extra person, or when we eventually needed somebody to go on this trip and just do all of the shooting and the editing, guess who we're calling? This guy who's paying us $400 a month has made thousands, like multiple thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And it's great. So it just makes me think, wow, just being in the place that you need to be, it's sort of like good things can come from that.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. I mean, for the mastermind, it's like kind of a big investment. I knew it was like, okay, I'm signing up for coaching. I don't necessarily have the money or clients to be able to do it. And I was like, I just knew I needed the help, the coaching. And I was like, let's do it. And it has already paid for itself beyond even what the whole year is. And so it's paid for itself each month with that. So
I remember when I was describing to my wife about Sam, about you, I was like, yeah, when I first met Sam, I was like, he's brand new in this work, and it doesn't, I mean, it sounds like the finances, it's going to be like, it sounds like he could probably do it, but man, it sounds like a stretch. And I'm not sure if this is like really for him. And after, you and I thought about it more, it was just like, hey, like, here's the offer. I think culturally you're like the perfect fit. Fresh, real green, but you're not new to this kind of work.
Yeah.
But as a business owner, so it's been so great to have you inside of the mastermind.
Yeah.
So you get this encouragement, right, from other people. You get ideas on how to simplify what you're doing and how to maybe be helpful for other production companies. Is there anything else that you're like, man, this was missing? Starting a business can feel like you're all by yourself. So having a built-in, I've got these people and they're able to answer questions that I have. But are there any other benefits that you feel like it was a stretch to join the mastermind, but I'm glad I did because this?
I think having a community in general is so much better than not. Like, that's true for like in general, but I think with this one in particular, there's a little bit of enough barrier to entry that everyone's actually invested in it. And I think that in and of itself creates this, I don't know, I guess it's intentionality, but it's investment from all the people that are in it. And they're ready to help because they're being helped. And it's like this, I guess, feeling of excess of what we have to offer, that everyone's kind of ready to help and lend a hand where people need it, or just advice. And like an outside perspective, when you're just spinning in your own mind what you're doing, is so valuable, but it's so easy to give because you're just like, I mean, people like to help in general. So if people are like receptive to that help, then it's like, oh, well, I can not get yelled at by saying, hey, you should just do this. And it's not unsolicited advice. It's, I guess, kind of solicited advice at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. I think the phrase that I say is people who pay attention. And so you can be part of, a free group or free community, or, get free coaching. But until you've got some skin in the game, it's like, yeah, that's good. I've got a couple of my really good friends. We Marco Polo, like, video message each other like almost every day. And we all give each other advice. And sometimes we take it, sometimes we don't. I've given probably like $8 million worth of business advice, on this little thread that we have. And, 7.99 million of it has not been heeded. And it can just feel, it reminds me of people always, I think it's even in the Bible where, they talk about Jesus, how nobody in his hometown paid any attention to him. Like, he wasn't special. It was just like, yeah, we all know this kid, like, whatever, he grew up here. So I think it's that same sort of, until you have some kind of investment, it's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Cool idea. Good thought, whatever. You're my buddy, or my wife, as she's a fine artist, does abstract painting. I've given her, $2 million worth of business advice, and not sure how much she's taken, but then she hired a coach and she starts doing the stuff that this coach is. And so she's telling me what she's doing. And I'm just like, inside, I did not say this out loud.
This is what I've been saying.
Just like, these are all the things that I've been telling you. So that's just amazing. I would love for you to talk just a little bit about your transition from being an employee to being a business owner, because I know there is this desire for certain people that listen to the show that would love to do this work full time, but there are blocks. There are, whether it's mentally or just feels like financially, or the risk, whatever. There are things that hold us back. What was the moment that you decided that you were going to do this? And then at what point, if ever, did you feel like you're going to be successful?
There's a lot of different points with that. I was at a job for like about 10 years, and I approached the 10-year mark and was like, man, am I still needing to kind of fight tooth and nail to get any sort of advancement, or just making different progress on projects and kind of have any sort of, I guess, wiggle room to grow and advance?
Yeah.
And so with that, I was like, man, it ended up being a lot. And so it's that I kind of outgrew the position, but I knew I needed more freedom to be able to just be able to maneuver. And so it was a big step to actually quit, because it was not such that I had a plan, and I just knew that I needed to quit, and I had just bought a house that was more expensive than I could have afforded, and also it was like selling a house to afford that. And so it was a big leap, and it was like, I knew that I needed to do it for my sanity, and I needed to do it for my family. And it was a big question mark of like, is this the right time? And I guess I don't necessarily know, but I did ended up believing in myself, and then having people that believed in me too. And that was the biggest thing that actually like has shifted in my life, where I actually am believing in myself and taking risks that I would not have taken had I actually had like more of a safety net, or I guess have a salary where it's like, I can just spread out my efforts over this amount of time, because I know that those things are going to be covered. But I don't know, especially since starting in the mastermind, I was like starting to get traction. This year starting to get traction. My business has doubled each month, and it's been wild. And so I just, like, this last week after April 15th, I realized like, oh, I don't have this huge tax bill that I thought I would have. And I have had my nose to the grindstone this whole time. And I just lift my head up, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, it has been doubling each month. And it's like crazy beyond almost like to what I made at my whole job last year. I quit in August, but like I made more this month almost than my whole last year of working as a salaried employee. And so it's from helping people and having a mindset of helping, and just trying to add as much as I can in each spot without trying to take too much or bid higher than what people can afford.
Doubling every month. That's no joke. That's
no. I need to do better math on it probably, but the glance at it anyway is that
when you're looking at what's worked so far, what would you say has been, doubling, even just a couple of months in a row is like, holy cow. What would you point to if there was one thing that has been the most helpful thing that you've started or stopped doing?
Yeah, a bit of it's probably been luck, but the things that I've done have been, I've been consistent with wanting to help and being ready to help people. And so like some of my initial clients and biggest clients, those have actually just grown, and I've been kind of a freelance entity in that business. And it's been that since I'm cheerful and ready to help, they're just kind of giving me more things and I'm just making their lives easier. And so as I'm doing that, they're like, hey, can you do this thing too? And this thing too? And I'm like, I can. And some of it's like really, really fast for me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
is this really worth it for you? But also their business model is such that it's not costing them money. It's exactly what they have their business model to do. And so they have these things budgeted and I'm able to be quicker and not bill hourly with that. Like billing per project has been huge. Some of it still ends up being hourly, but being just cheerful when it's hourly because they're like, we don't really have this project budgeted, but we just know we have this little need. And so those projects that are the big ones end up coming because I'm available and helpful and cheerful and not trying to stick it to them while there's like hours to be billed. I kind of just try to look for the cap of like, how many hours do you want me to spend on this?
Yeah.
I don't want to overdo it because I honestly don't. And I could make it way too intense, but yeah, I think the one thing is showing up and being helpful and being consistent and cheerful, even if I don't feel cheerful.
Yeah. Consistent, cheerful, helpful, all of those I think are really smart things to be and to do, especially, your network is your net worth. I didn't make that up. That's
all right.
Heard that somewhere. But, if you are that person inside of your network, it's like, who else are people going to want to work with when it comes to, do I want to work with the grouchy video guy or gal, or do I want to work with a person who's trying to be helpful and is cheerful and is also good at what he does? It becomes an easy choice.
I think an extra element to that too is like, I don't necessarily want to just finish a project. Like I kind of want to make it easier for myself. And I work in a way that typically is such that I don't want to do a tedious thing again and again and again the same way. And so a lot of times I'll like kind of offer that to clients where I'm like, if it's such that they have a bunch of editors or they have people that can do what I'm doing, I'll kind of offer, it's a little bit of an upsell or just like, hey, I can do this. Maybe I don't even want to do it again because maybe it's kind of tedious for me too. I'm looking for work. So I'm not trying to turn things away like that yet, but if I can make something faster and more efficient, it's a bit of like the assembly line mentality where I don't know if you can pay me to build an assembly line or even deliver a project file that I've made, like if I can do it and just enable someone to then do it as I've been enabled, that's kind of passing it along. And I like that.
You mentioned this, and I want to make sure people don't miss this. There are two of my favorite, people that I follow in business, Blair Enns and Chris Doe, all talk about value-based pricing. And what I don't want people to miss is just because Sam can do this job really fast doesn't mean that he charges his clients less because it doesn't take him as long. His experience and all of the blood, sweat, and tears of him figuring out how to improve his process and become better at what he does, that there's a great value in that. And so if nothing else, he should probably be charging more because of all of that experience.
Yeah, probably.
So I love that you are, thinking more project-based versus hourly. And that's a shift that I think I overlook and I kind of forget because I remember very early on, I shot this, it's like a lawyer deposition or something like that. And it was a friend of mine. She hired me. And then at some point she said, how much is it going to cost? And I'm just like, $35 an hour. And she's like, we can't pay that little. Can we pay you like, I think she said it was $75 or $100 an hour. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, are you getting in trouble because you just offered, that much? But for her, it's like, there's this value to know that the person she's hiring, has what they need, can do the job, so they're willing to pay what it's worth. And me, I was not valuing their end product and the process and all that stuff. I was just saying like, well, this is what I think I can charge. So if you can get out of that mindset of what can you get away with charging, and more into what is this actually going to be worth for the company? Like, are they going to be able to get more sales, get more leads, save time, make more money in the long run? And if so, how much? And if they're going to be able to make $1 million in this video as a part of that campaign, certainly somebody should pay gladly $10, $20, $30,000 for an investment that will help them get $1 million.
Yeah.
I mean,
the best kind of clients are the ones that like have a plan to make money with the thing that you're making for them. Yeah. And so, that's one of the biggest things that also helped me be like, okay, I can start a company, is just seeing at least once my value. I think it was like 2023. I had a freelance client on top of my job that I was like, whoa, they value this and it's crazy. And like, I actually could have this value. This isn't just a fluke. Maybe it was a fluke, but I was like, if it isn't a fluke, then that floats me for the whole year. And like, what the heck? That's crazy. And so, that kind of thing, like finding the right person that you can actually help, that has a plan that you can have like a mutual trust with, like then they just know that they can pass something to you and you can take care of it. And so, that's huge.
What would you say as you envision like the 2 years from now? Where do you want this business? Like, what do you want to build? Where do you want to be doing 2 years from now?
If it was like 3 months ago, I would be like, oh man, I hope to maybe one day be on the Studio Sherpas podcast. And then all of a sudden this month, it's like, it's crazy. Like, I'm like, maybe I actually need to hire somebody because there's way more things that I am able to do that are kind of coming down the pipeline, and they're kind of being spread out to where I'm like, I can still do it. But also I'm like, man, if it comes this quick as I have some of these things, like I really need to get some people to be able to do some of the things that I do, or help me sort through my brain at the end of the day as I'm working with all these people that I just still sincerely want to help. So like, I definitely want to be able to, I don't know, invest in some people to empower them to do what I was able to do under a lot of stress. Cause like somebody paying me when I was like, I couldn't make that much per hour. Or I don't know, like my time isn't valued at that, or like my whole day isn't valued at that. If I have a salary, like if I can give that to somebody and then they can actually take that and use their talent to go beyond that. If I could do that to even one person, I think that'd be amazing. Like that's what I want to do, because it's really nice to pay someone for the good work and good job, and it's really nice to be paid for one. And I don't know, I don't want to just say that that's like the way it all can work, but I really am encouraged by the idea that it could.
So building a team.
So
just think like 2 years from now, do you have, is the people that will be working for you, are they remotes? Do you have like a quote unquote studio? What does that look like?
I definitely think that if it can work out financially, I would need to get a studio, because I've been working from home and it is, it's a lot to just never leave the house and to be like, well, what's the point of leaving the house when I just want to relax or something? Like, it's definitely something that I'd like to get a studio. I'd like to have some of the things that I do be a little bit more visual effects based, because I niched down to do motion design, but I like filming too. And there's a lot of crossover with what you can do with After Effects with motion tracking and stuff. And I have a lot of different ideas with that, and to be able to actually explore that in a space where I don't have to clean off a bunch of Legos from the floor. Some of them are for me, but to clean up everything and rearrange my furniture, that would be where I'd like to be, maybe even in less than a year.
When you're as you are building this thing, are there any tools, software or non-software related, that you're like, man, this has been really a game changer or super duper helpful?
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Do we have time?
Give me a couple of your favorites.
A couple of my favorite ones for motion design, simplifying the workflow between Illustrator and After Effects. There's something called Overlord, and really there's a company called Battleaxe that is so great. Adam Plouffe, I hope that's how you say his last name. I've I followed him for so long, and he's so great at what he does. He just makes people's lives easier with plugins. And yeah, there's some plugins there that really are excellent. And so Overlord does that. And just a lot of it comes down to techniques too.
Yeah.
Part of what I do with regards to like coming in and helping businesses is like realizing what they already have. Because a lot of times there's brands that you're working with and they don't necessarily have a big budget, or maybe you're just making video content for people and you have graphics that you need to put in, but maybe they don't look good, or you're trying to quality control for your editors and you don't know what to do to make them get up to speed, but maybe you're not a designer either. So a lot of times what I do is I just go and look at what decisions that company's already made. And a lot of times that's on their website. They'll have a logo, and beyond the logo, they'll have maybe product branding. I was just helping a friend do some quality control things the other day, and he was mentioning that he was making reels for them, and I went to the company's website, and they had amazing product branding on their I think they were selling, it wasn't just pills, supplements. They were selling supplements, and they had all this different line of supplements that had great branding, and to use some of that to inform their sales reels, I think is that's what I would do. And so that, and I don't know, different elements from the website, like these shapes or these things or these colors, and putting them in the video gives those different touch points for how people see the company's brand, because it just kind of reinforces it.
I love that. What about for the person who might be in a similar spot that you were somewhat recently, really contemplating, man, should I go full time? Should I do this? What advice do you have for that person that's waffling, maybe overthinking? What would you say to them?
I'd say find out and then believe. Find out your worth and then believe in it. Like if you've gotten something from something before, like if you've gotten paid more than you think you're worth before, and you actually delivered, and then that person's happy, don't go back from that, because you can do that at that same level again and again and again, I think. And whether or not you get it right away or whatever, it's really good to know your worth and then not be pressed down beyond what you think you're capable of. So that's what I would say.
And if you could even break that down, talk to me like I'm 5. Explain it to me like I'm 5. For somebody that's I'm not sure exactly how to find my worth.
Well, sometimes you have a really good meal and it tastes really good. You can bite off more than you can chew, and that's not good. But if you take and seek out those meals that are excellent, they will nourish you, and then you'll be able to eat more and do better. Did I make that some 5-year-old enough?
It's amazing.
5-year-olds are maybe smarter than that. I could probably give them more credit.
So you like apples. Okay.
So you have 2 apples, and you've gotten them before. You can get them again.
All right. So how about we paint this picture? I'm working at this tiny little Christian college forever ago. I convinced my boss to buy me a video camera and a computer, start making videos, realize that I want to just make videos. This is the job that I want. And so I did that for a long time there. I got to learn for a couple of years on how to do that, how to do it better. And then eventually I'm like, I just want to do this. I want to leave this company, my job. I don't know how I'm going to make a living. I'm not sure how I'm going to, but I think I can. I was picking up weird, odd jobs here or there, doing some video stuff. And I'm like, I think I can. For that person that's kind of on the fence there, how do they, because their only worth up until that point is what they've been paid salary wise. And for me, all I needed to do was replace $11 an hour. And that's not worth very much. If I was approaching a business and I was like, hey, I can make a video for you and it's going to cost you $88. I guess it's going to take me about 8 hours to do this whole thing. They're going to be like, wow, okay. It's going to be garbage, right? And I'm not valuing my time and my skill and all that. So how do you navigate that and help people figure out how they should figure out their worth?
Yeah. How I have found out is I kind of took a risk and like some of the projects that I had been doing with the studio, I was handling all on my own, but I had brought them to the studio because it was a leap of faith and it didn't end up working out that well, but I bid that project with a studio behind me and did it all myself. And so I figure I could do it all myself without the studio
Yeah.
behind me. And just having a relationship with someone who knows that I maybe had the clout to do it, building the trust outside of like having it be promotional trust, is how I've had success so far. Because I'll be honest, I'm terrible at self promotion, and I'm almost not even doing it. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like it's not what I want to stay at because I do want to do it and do it more, but I don't know, like making a personal connection with somebody who maybe has a budget that like if you just find out not only like find out their budget but like act in a way that you're not trying to take more than what their budget is, see how much something would be worth to somebody, and if it's actually worth that and makes them that amount of money, maybe that's you can put more or less effort into not more or less effort, but you can put effort into navigating things that way rather than be like, will you pay me this hourly for this? It's kind of, it's, I think Blair Enns in the book Win Without Pitching kind of mentions just positioning. And like, if you're the person who's making a video for somebody, you're kind of, you're diagnosing their problem and you're figuring out what they actually need. And from that point, you're an expert. And like, I don't know if you've ever been billed by a doctor, but they don't bill like normal people. And like, yeah, that's a little bit different of a thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, like, but basically you're there to help people and not sell people on what they don't actually need.
Yeah. Well, and that's where the idea of being a practitioner comes into place. You know, you go see a doctor, hopefully you're not just like, hey, my stomach hurts. And they're like, okay, well, eat this.
Yeah.
You're like, okay. But hopefully they ask you 10, 20 questions. Hopefully they do some tests and really try to figure out what is this, why is his stomach hurt? And it keeps hurting or whatever. It's the same thing when we're on discovery calls with clients. Like if we just hear them say, I need a video and it needs to be 2 minutes long. And you're like, okay, well, yeah, it's going to cost you like $7,000. It's like, oh my gosh, wait, whoa, easy. Like, what's the problem? Why are they doing a video? Why do they need it right now? Have they done it in the past? What went well? What didn't? Understand, have they been frustrated by this process? Has this gone smoothly in the past? If they say, we've spent $20,000 in the past on the same video, but the process was terrible. Like it was so annoying. The person never got back to us. We didn't have any idea what the style was going to be until we saw it for the first time. We're like, this is not the direction that we're going. So we have $20,000 that we'd love to spend on this, but we're just not sure that we can trust the person. So you would have never had an idea that they had $20,000 if you just said, yeah, we can do this for, and sure, maybe you don't have you can't figure out how to justify the worth of this being $20,000, but at least you have permission to say like, wow, if I was able to solve this problem for you in half the time with like no stress, it would be worth $20,000. And they say yes, then it's like, you better write your freaking invoice for $20,000 because you're solving a big problem that they have.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with doing that. I don't think ethically, if you say I've never charged that much, or I can't, if somebody's telling you this is what it's worth and we would give you the money to make this problem go away for us, then man, take advantage of that. Don't take advantage of people, but be a practitioner, understand what the problem is, ask all the questions and figure out what's the value of this. You'd be able to make so much more money and help so many more people because you're addressing the problem and not just trying to give them a Band-Aid solution because they think that they need this video or they're saying this. It's like, well, yeah, if they're the video marketing expert, then it makes sense for them to say, this is the exact video that we need. But you, with your experience and seeing what other clients are doing and knowing what works and what doesn't, you should be speaking into that. And there's a lot of value in that. And a lot of that really comes from being able to ask enough questions and the right questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree.
And that's the end.
And that's all we have to say about that.
But I mean, I think that's the easiest way for people to find their worth, or one of the easiest ways is to not put it on you, not put it on yourself, but ask the people that you want to do business with, what's it worth to you? Because at the end of the day, if somebody, a story I hate to tell, because it just brings up a bad memory, but I've had family members or close friends that, like when we were doing weddings, oh yeah, we're getting married. So, can we get a family discount of like for our wedding video? And I'm like, you know what? I got smart at one point. I was like, tell me which of our videos is your favorite one? And then that'll give me an idea of like what it is that you guys want. Right. So this is me trying to diagnose the problem. Mm-hmm. And that person never got back to me.
Oh.
They never watched any of my videos.
Oh.
They just knew that like everybody, we're kind of famous back when we were doing wedding videos. We were, filming for celebrities and just whatever. And that's what they wanted. And they wanted a discount. And I'm like, okay, give me more. Mm-hmm. Instead of me just saying like, oh yeah, it's $5,000 or like, let me discount this thing. If they don't value it, I don't want to work with them.
Yeah.
If they're like, dude, we've watched every single one of your wedding videos. These are amazing. The most beautiful thing. We do not have the money to afford you. If that's the approach that somebody comes to me at, that's much different than, hey, we're family. What kind of discount can we get? Yeah. It's like, I don't want to work with you. Are you serious?
I was going to say, especially if they're not going to at least type in a URL and scroll a little bit to go find at least one.
So you could find your worth by letting people dictate what they think it's worth. You could find your worth by believing the lies and the things that you've convinced yourself of over the years. Or you can try to diagnose the problem, the actual problem that a business has or this individual has that needs a solution, and video is probably the answer. But if you don't understand the problem, how big of a problem it is, what does your life look like if you don't have that problem anymore? What are you experiencing? What pain goes away because this problem is solved? When you can start answering those questions, having clients answer those questions for you, you don't have to figure out your worth. That's what that project's worth. That's what solving this problem, that's what it's going to be worth for them. So that's your permission to say like, okay, we can do it, and we can do it for that. Or, you know what? We don't even have to charge that much because we're extra generous. We can do it for half that, whatever the amount is. But ensuring that what you're doing there is you're going to provide the value. You're going to bring, your A game and do all the things, and then you're going to be profitable on that job.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
Sam, I am grateful. Our whole mastermind is going to listen to this. They're going to be like,
I hope they do.
It was so fun to listen to you.
I hope you don't cut out all my good parts.
No, this is like, we'll only cut out the good parts and leave the bad parts.
Oh, perfect. Even better.
There won't even be an episode because it's all good. What is the best advice that you can give to yourself right now?
The best advice I can give to myself is to keep going. Sometimes things are really hard and they don't need to be. And even if they feel like that, it seems like it just keeps getting better, even though I'm not necessarily doing things to change some of the things that are hard. So just keep going and it'll keep getting better.
Yeah, I think that relates to that idea of consistency, right? Showing up and putting in the work. And a lot of times it's hard for us to see our own growth because we're just in it. But 2 years from now, you're going to look back and be like, holy crap. Like, yeah. I can't believe I'm at where I'm at right now. This is crazy.
I'm looking forward to that.
In the middle of it, I mean, even in the middle of it, you are experiencing some of that, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. But even more so, a year from now, 5 years from now, you're going to look back and be like, wow, like this is crazy. So being consistent and having those rhythms in your life and in your business, that's like, no matter what, these are the things that I know I have to do in order to build the kind of business and the kind of life that I want to build. Consistency, man, that is a thing that it changes everything.
Yeah, it absolutely does. It's hard to be consistent sometimes, but when you are, it's great.
Yeah, I love it. That's really good. That's good advice. Thanks for sharing that. How can people check out the work that you're doing? Is there a way that they can get in touch with you if they're interested, if they're a filmmaker and they're like, man, I don't want to do motion graphics, but is there somebody I could call that could help out? Give us all the things.
Yeah. Go to unlitted.co and I'd love to talk with you. I could give you a link to my meeting link. I don't know how many people would sign up and maybe that would overwhelm me, but I honestly would just love to talk with people because that's the thing that has been the most enriching for me. As I'm working from home, just talking with people is way, way enjoyable. So I'd love to talk with you, find out what makes your business tick or what things I could do to help you or make it more efficient, if that's what you need. Or yeah, I don't know. If you're just curious, like what is motion design? I have it written down over here, but never really talked about it. Yeah, I don't know. I'd love
this audience, most everybody probably knows that. And if they don't, then go to, it's unlidded, UNLIDDED
.co.
Finish
.co.
Okay, yeah, I was like, wait, is it co?
It is .co.
Okay, so unlidded.co. And where did the name come from?
The name came from the idea that I felt trapped in a jar, and the idea is that the name is actually, like, the definition is not equipped with a lid, and the whole idea is like you don't need to stay in a jar. Like a jar is safe and it maybe preserves you, but you don't need to stay in it, and you can go beyond what you find keeping you tethered or keeping you contained.
Yeah, it's like a glass ceiling. Except for, in a jar, it's probably a tin ceiling. But like you've got glass walls.
Yeah,
so, go outside of the glass walls.
Smash outside.
That's good. Unlidded.co. And do you hang out on the socials anywhere?
I am starting to. Unlidded.co.
Okay.
With no dot is my Instagram. If you go to it, you'll find no posts, but I'm headed there.
Maybe.
The best way to get in touch with me is on my website. And I'd love to talk with you and actually connect because that's the best way. But you can follow me there, and I will be doing more things and posting things. Right now, I'm too busy, but I'm getting there.
That's good. That's a good problem to have. Sam, thanks so much for sharing today. It was super good to get this time with you.
Likewise.
Love seeing your business grow. Love seeing you grow as a person. I am better because you are in my life.
Thank you. That means so much to me. I appreciate it.
All right, friend, I hope this episode was good for you. If you have a takeaway or a thought or anything you want to share, let us know in the comments. You can also email me, ryan@studiosherpas.com. If there's a takeaway, an insight, you're like, man, this was good. Or just an action step, something that you're going to do because of anything that was shared or just an epiphany that you had. We'd love to hear that stuff. If this episode was good, you want to share it, please do that. If there's any way that I can serve you, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you for listening. If you're watching, thanks for watching. And that's all I've got. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.